So I'd like to introduce Nikki Warren. So Nikki, you trained as a naturopath?
I did in the herbal medicine.
And in herbal medicine as well. Beautiful. And then what inspired you to get into natural therapies in the first place?
Well, do you want to hear that story?
Your own health story, let me guess.
All right, so I was actually a flight attendant.
Wow.
And I was diagnosed with PCOS.
Right.
I went down the path of going to specialists. Nobody could help me. Finally went to see a student naturopath, actually.
Wow, great.
Yeah, she healed me. So she gave me a herbal medicine blend. So it was peony, licorice, nettle leaf, burdock. Within 3 weeks, I got my period. I hadn't had one in a year.
Wow.
Then the acne started to disappear. Then the weight started to come off, and I thought, "What on earth are these?" I'd never heard, like, when she said to me, "I'm going to give you some herbs," I thought she meant herbal tea, and I said, "I don't really like herbal tea." And anyway, so I bear, you've got to bear with it, don't you? When you're taking the herbs, I was like, "Oh God, these are disgusting." But yeah, when I had the results, I was so inspired, and so the next year I started studying naturopathy while I was flying.
Yep.
Then an unexpected pregnancy followed because I hadn't realised that, of course, I was making myself more fertile. So then I had my daughter and I quit flying. There was no way I was leaving her at home, and just carried on with the study. Started my practice when she was 3 years old, and kept studying. So that was just naturopathy. Went on to study herbal medicine. Then I did my bachelor in health science at Charles Sturt. Then I studied at UTS doing my Masters in Public Health.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And so tell us a little bit about your journey, because you now have established a brand, a well-known brand that's going international.
Yes. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that journey.
Yeah. So I was in clinical practice for about 10 years, and then I had my second child, Phoenix. He's 10 years old now. And with Taylor, I suffered terrible morning sickness. It was awful, and so I wanted to avoid that. I designed a first trimester vitamin that also reduces morning sickness, and that was really
one of my faves.
Unique. Yeah. And so then I had that made by a compounding pharmacist, and worked really well for me. Then I started using it with my clients. It was working really well for them, and I thought, in the shower one day, I just thought, oh my God, I've got to take this to the market. Nobody's done it.
Share it to the
before.
world.
Yeah. So I did, and it was a great success. It was, sort of, the naturopaths already knew me, and so I guess that, there was a bit of it wasn't so much of a stepping stone. It was, I went to the distributors and they took it on straight away. So I was really lucky,
And I imagine there was quite a lot of hoops that you had to jump through initially.
TGA?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. Huge hoops.
Big learning curve?
Huge. Yes, big learning curve. So I actually launched the range as Naturopath's Best. That wasn't allowed because it's an endorsement by a health professional.
Right.
So it became Naturo Best. And I really learned the TGA advertising code after that.
Yes.
I learned that legislation, and I also learned that regulatory affairs consultants, that is a pathway for naturopaths to go into.
Worth their weight in gold.
Yeah. It's also a lot, you can earn a really good income off it. So, if somebody is very, very focused on, attention to detail, if they love the research and development side of things, that is a pathway to go down for sure. That's a really good pathway, career-wise. And then the other thing, I've sort of just observing from other companies that there are so many other jobs that you could do. You don't have to go into clinical practice, or if the clinical practice doesn't suit you, there's marketing roles, there's sales roles. They always want a naturopath in a sales role.
So somebody who can authentically talk about the products.
Exactly. Yeah. So there are so many pathways that you can go into. Yeah.
And what's your advice for a student about to graduate and go out into the big wide world, and who might even want to develop their own products in the future?
Yeah, well, when I was a student, they used to tell us all the time that, because half of the room got, sick of studying massage. They would say, why are we studying massage? I don't want to do massage, and they would always say, oh, this is your bread and butter. And I used to think, why?
It's not what I want to do.
It's not what I want to do. But half the other room did want to do that sort of thing. So, I would just say that if it may not work out in clinical practice, and for 95% of students or naturopaths, it doesn't in the first 5 years. That is the reality, and so if that is the case, there are so many other doors that can open for you. Don't give up on it and go back to another career or look at something else. Look at what you can do with those skills. Yeah.
And I think it is, it's one of those qualifications too that gives you such a broad skill set.
Yeah.
And yes, the world is your oyster in terms of imagining what you can actually do with those skills. So
absolutely. Yeah.
Clinical practice, I in clinical practice and I adore it.
I did too. Yeah.
And I would always want to keep that as part of what I do, but yeah, there are so many opportunities these days.
There are, and it depends what you enjoy doing in clinical practice as well. Because you've got the sort of the talking aspect, the sort of almost psychotherapy aspect of things, and that might be more your sort of thing. For me, it was facts and figures. I loved analysing blood test results and prescribing based on those blood test results, and that's probably the part that I missed the most actually.
Yeah.
Is just but now I get to analyse all of the research and develop product and that's something I will continue to do because that's
pretty exciting.
Yeah, that's really exciting. Yeah,
that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time, Nikki.
No problem. Yeah, okay, thank you.